And today's topic, data-driven test automation for reliable releases. If we take a look at testing market, 73% of organization is already in their automation journey. Maybe they are met or they are in a journey to reach. 24% still on manual and 3% unknown. This implies most of the maturing or mature organization have clear understanding on cost saving, how to get faster feedback. Most importantly, they wish to reduce the time to market. And if you break down automation market further into web and mobile app, current automation testing market is at 19 billion and tend to grow to 91 billion with a compound annual growth rate of 19%. And wherein app automation market is $6.77 billion and tend to grow at 16.8% to reach a $32 billion and more. By the way, my name is Ajeshu Shabran, a quality thought leader with 2 decades of experience in software industry who loves solving problems and had a chance to solve real world problems in PaaS, SaaS, system engineering, and AI products. With me today, I'm excited to have Sunil Maganahalli, a chief architect from Happiest Mind, who is going to share his wisdom and experience. Sunil, may I request you to have a small introduction?
Sure. Thanks, Rajesh. Hi, everybody. This is Sunil. I head the quality engineering and the DevOps practice for Happiest Minds. I have been with Happiest Minds for the last 9 years and the industry for 23 years now. I have worked across 7 different domains, and primarily my role of my line of work involves quality consulting. It can be functional or on the automation side, and also on defining the quality and automation roadmap for our customers. And I have been with the automation and tooling industry throughout my career. So that's a brief about me. Welcome to the webinar. Looking forward to have an interactive session here.
Yeah. Thanks, Sunil. That's short and sweet. In the recent event, I'm sure most of you are aware about CrowdStrike outage. What happened with CrowdStrike outage? This outage stemmed from a bug in quality control tool that failed to catch a null pointer exception, leading to an infamous blue screen death. In 2018, similar, there was a Boeing 736 crash happened due to software bug. And this was linked to software flow in maneuvering characteristics augmentation system. In the era of anytime release or continuous delivery, data-driven releases helps any organization to release product with utmost quality. Data is a king that helps us to take actionable decisions and ship quality product without risking any wrong experience or providing a wrong experience to us. Market leaders need to ship code faster and stay ahead of the competition. Organization that ships code faster grows 5x faster. Amazon deploys codes every 11.7 seconds. Netflix deploys daily 50 deployments, 50 markets deployment. Adidas, thousands of per-day deployments. And how they achieve this? So that we are going to discuss in today's agenda. So basically, there's a lot of content here, and I'll just break it down into small. We are going to cover in the web, mobile, and we'll be covering into AI, then into the matrices, then we'll be covering about Happiest Mind and key matrices, or what makes you to take actionable decisions. And we'll also be demoing in terms of app automate, turbo scale, observability, and if time permits, we'll also have a demo on AI. All right, and definitely we have Q&A and session for discussion, and few housekeeping items. Today's sessions will run for 60 minutes. The session is being recorded. All participants remain muted. The recording will be shared to all participants, and there will be dedicated Q&A sessions where we can have more interactions. During our previous slide, we touched upon app automation market is tend to grow with a 16.8%, and this is big market. When there is also an ongoing discussion about potential acquisition of Intel by Qualcomm, this seems mobile market might be grow faster too. Don't you think so? So can you share experience in the system on mobile app testing landscape?
Yep. So if you see the conventional mobile app testing landscape, it has been primarily the use case flows and the data that gets into the app. We were focusing only on the UI automation or UI testing predominantly, right? With the enhancement of the mobile devices and addition of more and more sensors into these mobile devices, like your location sensors, the GPS, the health tracking sensors, your LiDAR sensors, and various other sensors which are coming up. And the latest iPhone and Pixel releases also, if you see, there are a lot of things coming in, and now AI also is joining, right? So there are a lot of tight coupling at the application layer and the OS and the device layer, and in fact at the hardware software integration layer also in the mobile app landscape. And this makes us think differently when it comes to the functional or on the automation side, how effectively we can cover all of these areas, and how do we have the data from each of these layers to take decisions related to quality. So if I'm certifying an app, it's not enough that your app works from the front end properly, right? So if you're doing a streaming app and then you'll have to test it, streaming is one side. There are a lot of user analytics captured on the platform side and various other things, the ad rendering that happens. So there are a lot of things that happen in the background which also have to be tested. So when we have to see the mobile app testing today, when we are interacting with customers, we get a lot of asks on how do we test everything together, right? And that creates the importance of managing data very well. It can be the locator data, test data, and various other things, which I'll cover later. But yes, that's where the world is going in terms of the mobile app testing today.
That's interesting. And can you also share now from Happiest Mind, how are you trying to solve from these challenges?
So at the Happiest Minds level, we have these offerings. When we get into an engagement with our customers, we start with quality strategy consulting. Do they have a right strategy for functional testing, non-functional testing, and even the automation? Are they using the right tools? So we have these frameworks which have evolved over the last 12 years since the day of our inception on how do we assess it itself, and what kind of data and metrics are being captured at each and every level when it comes to application development or a platform development or even a data pipeline development. With the era of Gen AI and the AI modules coming in, data also has to be equally considered, right? So that strategy consulting is our primary offering, wherein we get engaged with the customer. Then, of course, the test automation, mobile app automation had been heavy on the APM side predominantly, but now with the world going towards a JavaScript, serverless code and all, there are a lot of new frameworks and tools coming in, like WebDriver.io, that is evolving a lot. And there are low-code, no-code tools that are getting evolved in the industry. And the line between the application, the test tools and the cloud infrastructure providers, if you see BrowserStack today also, a lot of automation capabilities are coming into the BrowserStack itself. So it's no more just an infrastructure provider. So we will have to adapt our automation, and that's where we are focusing more on adapting the test automation. And then the non-functional and security. Today, if I test the functionality, people ask, how exactly is my app performant, right? So page load times or the screen load times. When I press anything on the screen, what exactly is it? So it's not the conventional server-side testing, performance testing that's there. We will have to also check, like client side, are the events rightly fired at the platform at the right times? Is there a delay in the event? Processing responses. So all of these areas will have to be checked. Again, the functional and performance, the line is getting thinner day by day. Every functional test should check the performance also. And of course, finally, the talent and knowledge in terms of OSS and devices, what are the sensors, how do you mock data, and various other things. So getting into the next level, we have these web apps and services, both automation and the best practices in terms of quality engineering, mobile and connected TV. Connected TV is a new one. Again, we have worked very closely with BrowserStack on their offering on the connectivity infrastructure. Apple Fire, Roku, WebOS, and Tizen is something that's evolving. Right, so that is a test automation capabilities on these devices are also gaining a lot of traction today. And Rajesh rightly mentioned the trend of the mobile app automation, and with the streaming and the e-commerce and the daily delivery apps coming into picture, a lot of things are the future looks very interesting on this space. Cloud apps and services, networking, Internet of Things, lot of sensors, third-party devices which can be hooked onto your sensors, mobile phones to wearables integration. So there's a lot of things happening on that space. How do you test? How do you automate? Is a question there. And of course, finally, the data. How do you capture data from each and every level and then take right decisions? Again, the decisions a human can take, even the AI models can take today. So all of these, how do they get together is something that we are focusing on big time. Yeah, that's how it is.
Very interesting. And now, can you also share your ideal mobile app automation framework?
Mhm. Yeah, so ideal mobile app automation framework in terms of capabilities per se, if we have to take the capabilities of an ideal mobile automation framework, number one, we need to have all the changing entities, which is primarily the data. It can be locators data, the test data, the user action, right? So we used to have these data-driven frameworks, right, where we had all the data and there are keywords being scripted in sequence to test. But with a lot of mocking, integration, and these kind of things coming in, we need to have the consider the asynchronous and the synchronous events, separate them out in the framework. That's one. Number two, can I get data from each and every level? Can I integrate? Can I mock different test entities? Like app is getting developed, there are wireframes to the app screens comparison, the visual testing that comes into picture, the compatibility testing. Then there is the data for assertions, what exactly we need to assert, because it's no more a finite set of data, right? The data is evolved. Again, what kind of assert do we have these faker kind of libraries to generate? And finally, the quality metrics. Are there any errors on the console? And all of these getting into the log analytics and aggregations, and then that help us to identify what was the point of failure. Debugging in today's mobile native world is a nightmare because there are a lot of layers in terms of the applications itself. It can be Android native, iOS native, or Flutter Ionic kind of entities, which is a single code base. Deployments can happen anytime. As Sajish told, there are a lot of people want to deploy every minute, right? So with those kind of things, it becomes very interesting on how does our automation cope up? Otherwise, we end up maintaining automation suite. So how do we rely? How do we get rid of these maintenance issues? It can be the UI changes, right? 50%, more than 50% of issues where we spend more on maintenance is on the continuously changing UI. So self-healing and these kind of areas are very important to consider. So that's what I would consider a mobile app automation framework.
Interesting. And to give a perspective how we look at this problem. So I think from BrowserStack, what we did, we evaluate customer feedback, and we look at where is a lot more customer interest and attentions are there. And from BrowserStack, we have a great support. As you also mentioned, APM is a bigger player here. So from BrowserStack, we have bigger support on APM, and you could see the number of list of languages what is being covered together. And definitely Espresso, then Detox, XUI, Early Grey, Flutter. So there is a lot more framework level support. And definitely while a customer or as a user try to pick this particular solutions, definitely they need to know, I mean, what is the problem they are trying to solve. Is that problem they have it, is it on iOS and is that you wanted a faster result, then you should choose a framework in such a way. For example, Early Grey was developed by Google, and definitely their thought process was to solve a problem for iOS related thing. So similarly, XUI was definitely from Apple itself, and this definitely had the benefit over AppM because it was execution was faster. So while a customer or else user think about what framework you would need to choose, what is your problem you wanted to solve, then you could look at that. So and even you can also look at what are the language support your application is looking forward. Based on that, you can take a decision on this. And we have a lot more, for example, other than this, we have Robotium, Calabash, Selenium provide. All those things are available in market. So these are the few framework which again, based on the situation, you guys can think about. All right. Okay. So how do you leverage data for app automation reporting?
So data for, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think you can speak about it. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So importance of data comes into I touched upon it in terms of locators, in terms of test data, in terms of the logs and various other things that are generated from the app, right? So app profiling itself, when I bring up an app and run my automation suite, what are the APIs that are called from the app? Are the APIs called with the right data sets, right headers, and in the right sequence? We'll have to check this. So that is on the app profiling side. And when I get a response, is the app able to handle it within the threshold that I have set? Thresholds can be predefined, or thresholds can be a comparison with respect to the baseline build. So that is an important metric that we will have to consider when we do it. So am I able to capture all the performance performance related figures for every page, every action that I do, right? And then compare. Manually, it's not possible to do, because so there are so many things. How do you keep track of time and various other things? We'll have to think of. Then the director level metrics. So with the CI/CD pipelines coming in, there are a lot of deployments happening. How does the CXO level person check, yeah, what feature went in what release? What is the quality? What has been my feature stability index? Right? What has been the rate at which I am able to roll out features? There are A/B testing that is happening, 2 versions of app for different user segments. Which user segment is complaining more? So these kind of metrics are very important for the CXO level, or at the people where outside the engineering teams itself today. So we'll have to build these dashboards and capture these metrics so that everyone gets what they want. The third and the final score is the accessibility and even the OAuth security and these kind of things. So when we run accessibility, people want to move left. How much I can identify at the earliest itself, right? Not necessarily after a production, I do performance, security, and accessibility, and I come up with a lot of vulnerabilities. There are a lot of discussions happening. So right at the start, how do I find it fast, and how do I find it very early in the life cycle? So that is the main metrics we have to capture.
And I think in my demo, even I'll also try to cover this, how this can be even visually seen, so that everybody can understand how this can be solved using automation. Even I'll be sharing that. And so again, so how is BrowserStack impacts Happiest Mind, Sunil?
The BrowserStack we started using. It's been a long journey with BrowserStack for us now. And BrowserStack we started with as a cloud infrastructure provider, right? So then we evolved the manual testing. How do we get all the people to test on any possible browser or the app that they want, right? So there was a lot of demand. Earlier we used to test on 5 or 6 apps, OSs and devices, but now customers come up with a lot of apps. How many more devices I can test? So that's where we saw value, where BrowserStack we are able to pick, and the beauty of it is all are real devices, right? So, and we can simulate various geos. So that reduces our effort in maintaining and setting up the infrastructure itself, so that I go and pick up a mobile in US location, East Coast, and then I test all of the scenarios that I want, and I see whether localization, internationalization, all of these things are behaving properly. I want to test something in the Middle East. I hook onto those servers, and then I get these. So that's where it has helped us a lot in reducing the infrastructure maintenance. Of course, if you do, we did a ROI calculation also when we had to check between we owning our own infrastructure versus we going with BrowserStack subscription for the manual testing part. And we saw that there was at least 40 to 45% of improvement on the infrastructure maintenance cost itself. And easy data reporting and monitoring. You want any of the logs today, we are able to get from BrowserStack, be it automation or on the manual testing. And that helps because if I'm asking a test engineer to write a test case, right? Some of them will log, some of them will not log. That is human dependent. But whereas in BrowserStack, whatever session we do, we get the session handles. We can see what are the app logs, what are the network logs, and all of these available, irrespective of whether I add those logging statements or not. Right? I have to just make that in the common utility that enable logging for all, right? And then the optimizing and utilization and cost. So I handle around 72 different customers today, and we are using BrowserStack for at least 20 of them, if I remember correctly. I don't have the exact numbers, but for all of these people, if I have a BrowserStack license in Happiest Minds, I have my dedicated parallels. I can distribute it between the project that I'm handling, and then I get a visualization on how whether the usage is at par with what we thought of. Is all the parallels and all the subscriptions are getting used. Today, people change teams, change organizations. So in that case, am I able to allocate different things? So we get these reports from BrowserStack, which actually helps us to take the right decisions in terms of optimization. Some project is not using 100%, we reduce and then we allocate it to different projects. So that the kind of support and the visibility that we get from BrowserStack is too high, right? And one typical use case is we are using BrowserStack to achieve MRC compliance for ad tech customers, right? So we have to think of an ad. You open YouTube, you get an ad, you wait on for clicking that skip ad for 5 seconds, right? So in those cases, anywhere in the world, whenever an ad is rendered, the platform should receive it, and we have to simulate all possible combinations of ad rendering scenarios, and we are using BrowserStack for that. And there are IAB guidelines which are certified by MRC. These are regulatory agencies which certify and then show that yes, we are indeed compliant with the standard, right from ad rendering, the cookie management, the event firing, what kind of data we get, and all of it. So we have used BrowserStack predominantly on that space, both on the web, mobile, and the connected TV space.
It's interesting, and thanks for sharing, Sunil.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think now been discussing a lot of theory, so I think it's a time for us to gear into a small demo. When before that, probably even how many of you recently tried booking Coldplay event in Mumbai? And what was your experience, or did you feel, or what was your waiting queue number? That's what the applications or app performance, how it is being tested well, and that will gives a good experience to customer. And I'm sure you understand better then. Okay, so now how do we test it? That's what the more important thing is now. And this particular setup for to fasten up is very simple. Now to understand, if you have your app to be tested, you would need to get that uploaded, and here is a URL Oracle command. How can you upload your app to our BrowserStack cloud? So that will provide a app URL that's critical for you to note. Then goes to the next step. Okay, the previous step was either you directly have an app, so you can upload it. So you will get one app URL. So that is important. Or else, if you are a user who really wanted to now try learning it, this is the next step. If you are not a learner and you already know about BrowserStack, then you can skip this part. In other way, this is a sample app file where you can learn about this particular thing. So that's why we created this. You can skip it if you already know it. Then, so as I said, in the first one, I said about you need to have clarity on the app URL. So that one you will have to use it in the next selection. So here, now your app is uploaded to BrowserStack cloud. Now, what is the next action? You need to select now on what are those particular devices. Now, even you know about BrowserStack, even the latest OS, day 0 releases happen for iPhone 15. Even day -6 release happen for Samsung. So I think that's the way even BrowserStack infrastructure on devices that happens here. So you need to choose your required, hardware devices or mobile devices. Then it takes you to, this gives you a YML file. Once you do that, this particular, all these things you can, there is a documentation available. I'll be linking to this. This particular thing automatically gives this particular BrowserStack.yml file. So this will be there in your local, and you will you just need to run this particular command. Since it is iOS, you need to run sample script. So this will take care of triggering part. This is a triggering part. I just to reduce this part, I am just showing all these things in this. And the triggering, once the triggering is done, then happens your real time. So, so now let me take you, once the triggering has happened, what happens is this create a deployment in our system, and you can see, let's say after the completion, you would be able to see, as Sunil also mentioned, you definitely you have a view about the complete video is available on the particular run. Then later you have app and input capabilities, all informations are given. And you can also look at test logs, then network logs, app profiling, all these informations will be available. So this will help you to, and this is a pretty important metrics for a user to understand. If you look at now, your installed app was 15.7 MB, then you are entering. You can see the performance, how, and slow frame pitches, all those things. This completely has been tracked. And whether that increases or not, that also shows you in the metrics. Similarly, you go to mem, and what is other important thing which you need to know? Now, what is the memory consumption, right? Memory usage that it takes. And it travels through the whole cycles and keeps that information intact. So that any spikes happens there, that's a point where you would need to dive deeper and look into it. Similarly, other point, and is there a CPU spike happening? So that is already captured. And is that having any impact to battery? So this information is already there. And is it increasing your disk usage? So all this information, and again, it's network data usage. These pivotal informations are already captured and it is available. So from a user perspective, now your life is very simple. You run it and live it, rest everything is there. Now, wherever the problem is there, you just need to go and look at where the problem is. So that's how your automation is going to be now. And second part, now we talked only about this. Now I just gave you details about how the metrics is all those. Then the second part is very crucial. Now for that, I'm just taking you to another. So BrowserStack have, for monitoring, we have a product called observability, which has been linked with our app automate. So which is all known as common automation dashboard. Now let's assume this is the run happened. So you can look at, this is the build summary of that particular run. So isn't it very clear to you now, this out of this 97, there are so many test failures, 20 test failures are there, and this skipped, 20 skipped, and you also have, and when a test run happens, what is that important activity for a QA? To take right decisions, what is that important failure that happened, to identify what is the unique error happened. You are not bothered about flakiness, but flakiness is also worry. That also have to be that also have to be taken into account. How do we get out of that? So now that classification is going to help you to understand. So now here you can look at this, in this particular, these are the unique errors which has happened. And so you can definitely go and say that and identify where is the problem lying. That is the best thing. And you would be able to give a faster feedback to your developer. Very simple. Like now, I think other important thing, let's look at. Now, I think during other one of the topic, when I remember Sunil mentioning, to look at how efficient that particular code is, all those things. Even you can set something called quality gate. So you could see that quality gate, fail, pass, all those things. There are, okay. Now, even once you set this particular thing, automatically you don't have to worry about checking whether this particular build is good or not. The quality gate is going to check because you already defined criteria at which situation. And this quality gate, you can create it at org level or else project level. You can do it at your choice. And now I'll also show you how do you do that. So with the quality gate set, your engineer is, or you can be rest assured, and no bugs will get leaked, because that quality gate won't allow you to check in any bad code. So that is the extreme protection we are going to get it here, and lot more. So I think I'll get into the quality gate little later, when I just wanted to bring you to the more interesting part of it. And let us look at the dashboards. And this particular dashboard, okay, yeah, I think, just give me a second. I think got logged out. Let me just log in again. Okay, so let me pick this dashboard. Yeah. And this is another very pivotal metrics for leadership. I think I remember Sunil mentioning a director level metrics that also plays a very pivotal role. So now for a leadership level, they need to understand how are we improving? What is the status at which our release is shaping it up? You need to have a big picture about how the whole org is doing it. So that is where the leadership metrics is important. Now look at this. Now, isn't it interesting to see about build summary? Then how is the stability going on? What is the flakiness amount available? And even you have information in terms of browser-wise summary, and you have build performance level matrices, and you also have a capability drill down. I'm not taking to that level at this point of time. Then you can look at further down unique errors we talked about, and what is the platform coverage. So then it's also give you test by status, failure categories, all these information are captured. Test execution, unit test cases, new failures. Okay, now let us go to one more. There are a lot more metrics coming up. And okay, very importantly, as a quality leader, they need to know which is that component, or which is that piece of code which is creating a lot of issues. Now, if you look at that failure by folder, so which is nothing but a common level classifications, that gives you a big picture about, okay, this is that particular thing which is causing that failure. You can further go inside this, and you can get more insight about what is that particular issue is all about. So that way you will be able to narrow down on the issue. Now let me give a simple example here. Let us understand. Now here we have always failing cases are there. Now if you really wanted to know, you can just go inside and view breakdown. That will give you more details. And further, out of that 4,766, you have this many, in sanity tests, you had more problem. Again, further, you can drill down. Then you get to the next level of analysis. That will help you to find out where is the root cause. And when that particular thing, and you have also have a capability to file bug at that point of time itself, so that okay, even let me just take you right now. When instead of going there, let me just give you the direct example here. Okay, so let's take this example here. Now in this, you have information about all this particular thing. Let's go by test summary. I mean test. In the test, if you look at test, so I was showing you insight, then now I move to test. In the test, you can see how was that particular test been performing over the build. So this gives you clear view about how the test is performing. Let's say that now this particular test has been failing in many places, and you also have the capability to file a bug, and you also have a capability to file a comment, and it can be an interactive session wherein a developer need not worry too much, or else a developer QA need not worry too much about sharing about information. And let's take this, and this is already tagged with always failing. You go inside, you will be able to get to the video and get to the network logs and whatnot. All informations you will get it there. Maybe this example is not the one which picked with the video, but ideally, even here I was trying to show you here. So this particular thing, if you look at this, have a video and it will give you a clarity where that particular thing was failing. So with that, a user will be able to easily and identify this is that root cause of the problem, and the fix also will be faster. So that's the beauty of data-driven testing actually, and that will help. Now, I think I told you I will have to give you information about the test quality gate. So in quality gate, this is that beauty. So now at org level, you can take a decisions. Now quality gate, you can add multiple quality profiles and add it to a quality gate. That is how you wanted to monitor, or you don't wanted to let any code to go. So how stringent you are, accordingly the quality gate will be stringent, and it won't allow any bad quality product, any bad quality code to get checked. So that is where the quality gate is coming. So now to give you that perspective, I'll just I'll show you the BrowserStack default one. So this is again certain rules based on our experiences. We set it. Once a rule is been set, automatically there is a lot of there is ML driven activity happen inside, and it will automatically assign it to the rest of the bugs which is getting created, and that way that automatically set to rest of the particular build. So that's another beauty which is there. Similarly, also you have few other classifications. You can set it what is the percentage of unique errors, and accordingly even you will get an alert on your dashboard. So these all will help user to take decision faster based on data. So that's the beauty of observability. Okay, I'll just share that alert. So this is that alert. And is there any specific area you wanted to, then you can create an alert and you'll be notified. So that way, every kind of issues can be monitored and traced. Okay, so that's on the observability part. Then let me move on to this. Okay.
The advantage of getting all of this data in BrowserStack is it moves away the operational or the monotonous work that people have to spend on reporting. We have to create a lot of report for management, right? And identifying clickiness itself, identifying unique error. I need not go through each and every test case and fixing it and then running it again to see how many test cases got fixed. So all of these are moved to the BrowserStack, and there is no need of additional coding or additional handling within the automation framework.
Absolutely. The biggest challenge we had while getting to observability was actually, in fact, I'm sure BrowserStack tried to solve a problem, and finally that became a product. So that is where it is. So this was a problem for us, and we did try solving, and we thought, okay, if this is our problem, then if it is there for all the community, then why not provide us a product? So there it is actually. Okay, so that's there. Then moving on. Okay, so Sunil, now I think we talked about more on app. Now, can you just share your lights on web automation, functional testing at Happy Minds?
So web automation, primarily a lot of things are evolving on the web automation, things moving from traditional, the JavaScript, the React and Angular. Again, those are getting older. Where the world is going is towards the power platforms, power apps, and these PWAs, right? The responsive apps which can run on mobile and also on the browsers with minimal configuration, right? So that is where the importance of cross-browser testing comes into picture. And also, how do you make sure that, if I have to test it for combinations, I will have to test it for at least 25, 26 combinations. That is the minimum you'll have to test on the browser today, right? That is the main part. And with a lot of data that has to be captured, and what browser, what is performing, what is not performing. Take a lot of hospital apps, for example. I use a lot of hospital apps in the healthcare domain. When we see, they are built for Chrome or this thing. If I have an iPhone, I open it on Safari, things break. I'll not be able to even book an appointment a lot of times. So that becomes very important, because a lot of apps, if you see Google, Angular, Material Design and all are coming. There is a React from Meta and all. And these are continuously evolving. There are a lot of async events. And again, web also, there is streaming entities. There are a lot of integrations that are happening on the browser to the OS level. For example, the Edge with AI. right? How do you call those APIs and then do? So all of these things are gaining a lot of traction, and that is where the automation on the web is going towards today.
That's true. Yeah, and that's true. That's correct. That's a challenge. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So then I think on key metrics web automations, would you like to share some light?
So web automation, again, key metrics, apart from whatever we covered on the mobile app side, those hold good. But on the browser side, there is, we'll have to, of course, track the performance, not only at the full page level. Mobile, it is a small screen. We have to just check on this activity, Android activity level or something. But when it comes to a web, there are a lot of iframes, there are a lot of widgets on the application, there are ads coming all over and all. So we'll have to see each and every entity. So the performance on the client side becomes a key that has to be checked for each and every iframe. If you have to do it manually, or you are coding in your automation suite manually, you'll have to have the Selenium APM or the Selenium move towards that, widget, get a parent handle, go to the child handle, and then see what is the page load time. Or integration with Lighthouse and these kind of things. There is a lot of coding that has to be done. There is a lot of maintenance that we will have to do. Again, responsiveness, you run it on multiple browsers, things break. So if that is supported by BrowserStack, that is a great thing to have, because we need not spend effort in that kind of work. Accessibility, of course, almost everyone in Europe and America want accessibility certified. Each and every page, each and every entity, and the accessibility standards are also getting stricter day by day. More and more user segments getting added onto the WCAG and the Section 508 compliance and all. There are a lot of standards evolving. Best practices and SEO. SEO. What kind of events, what kind of analytics are being captured? There are GDPR. What can you have in the cookie, right? So what can you have for your ad trackers that are there? So this is something that is not considered during the functional testing most of the times, but when you are certifying an app, all of these areas of quality becomes very, very important.
True. I think adding on to it, I think these areas definitely we are capturing in our automate solutions. And on top of it, we also having a key on progressive web apps. So now I think having both mobile and web together, right? So I think we also look at how your website is progressive or not. So I think that's another area where we are also looking at it, whether at least that can reduce a lot of unwanted effort of creating additional app, and business can run faster. So that's another thing where we're also taking a look. And this is another, okay, now even I think I can show you this in a small demo. I think not too much of time I will take it, but yeah, now to give you that perspective, okay, so let me pick, okay, here, right, I think this is it, right. Okay, this is it from here, all right, turbo scale, yeah, okay. I think I already have. Here you can take a look at. So in web performance, so this is from Automate, and you can also similarly, as I mentioned, I'm not repeating whether this is more about video recording. All these capabilities are inbuilt, and on top of it, you have test logs. Then you also have informations about web performance. So that captures in each and every test you execute and every pages you go. So that's actually helps to get to compliance faster, and you are left shifting and making sure your product is accessible compliant, so that there is no need of doing additional effort at the later point of time. So that's the way when we are solving this problem. Oh, right. So I think now it's a time for us to shift gear. We did talk about best practices on app testing, automate, how arrive at actionable decision based on observability. Now let's look at how to ship code faster. Now I think we discussed automate have a capability of parallelism, so that you can multi-process your test cases and get your feedback faster and provide the feedback faster to the developer and ship product faster. Automate have a caveat, which is we have a parallel limit of 250. That is a max we can have it. And if your organization is looking at doing hyper or bit scaling, you wanted to, like in the previous slide, I was talking about multiple deployment and all those things you wanted to be there, then that becomes a small bottleneck. That's where we thought we have to solve this problem. And hence we thought we introduce turbo scale. Now with turbo scale, customer can go up to 10,000 concurrent runs. So parallelism is not limited, which means that, and plus not only that, so the next part is it solves your cross-browser OS certifications. Then you don't need to set up a grid. You don't, the additional benefit. So similarly, what Automate does, here you have additional differences in TurboScale. Now, TurboScale can be on BrowserStack Cloud, and you have a lot more capabilities of getting, I will also share in the metrics part, a lot of metrics related information you'll be able to get it. And it also support wide variety of testing and the debugging capabilities. And more than everything, TurboScale is going to help you on cost effectiveness. Now I'll be demoing the next part. And plus, TurboScale can be a software layer to provide all capabilities of Automate on your existing grid, maybe on AWS or as a cloud provider, wherever it is. Our TurboScale can be a software layer on top of your existing automation grid, or on your cloud grid, wherever it has been there. And we provide you all insight like observability and all metrics related, those information. So that is one beauty about this. And from cost part, now the biggest challenge, if I recall, while setting up my previous, previous organization, the setting up the CI/CD without a DevOps was slightly difficult. A lot of hard work, QAs need to do it. Here is the other advantage. Any QA will be able to set it up. That's easy. It is being made. You don't need a DevOps capabilities. That's another beauty of this particular solution. And we will look little deeper further. So what in the first year, let's assume you are picking up 100 parallels, and maybe you are using it for Linux or Windows. However you want it, you're going to prioritize. In the first 1 year itself, you will be able to see $100K savings, because that's optimization this is going to bring you in your first year. Furthermore, so I think I told you, there is no manpower cost for grid setup, debugging, dashboard. So these all set. There is no manpower cost for debugging test infra failures, because observability is already doing it for. There is no manpower cost for infrastructure maintenance. Your downtime is not your problem, it is our problem. So that's why it is. And not just that, extensive support on browsers, framework, and other tools, and also integrations. All these are in one place. And now I talked about other solution. You could use our software layer on your existing cloud provider grid. You get all the capabilities what I discussed in the BrowserStack cloud. The same you will get it. That is also one of the options you can think about it. And next, so now to give you small again demo on this, the interesting part about TurboScale, right? On top of all those things, it also gives you another information. Again, this you can set it for like browser CPU, how much you wanted, browser memory, how much you wanted. Then that helps you to build more level of clarity and what is a concurrency of usage and what is a queued concurrency. All information are there. And you could set this based on P50 median or else P90 median or P100 max. So all these flexibilities are for you to dive further into it. And this you also have a settings. So that's how I was talking about. You can set what is the concurrency you wanted and you can run it. So that's way. And even you also have information about what are the CPU limit. All this can be managed by USL. And the concurrency that is there. So that's a small demo on the additional capability what is TurboScale is giving to you, all of you.
Well, answer. The beauty of TurboScale moves away our focus from having to integrate our frameworks to CI/CD, which has we want to get all the reports and then distribute it based on the needs. So that was effort intensive today. With that effort gone, what we can think is the next level where we can see, can I do an intelligent distribution and parallelism in my test? Because I already have the infrastructure taking care of the grids and all of this. I can write algorithms to distribute my test cases in real time based on the execution time, based on the stability and various other things, and then develop more automated and intelligent solutions to run my regressions faster.
Absolutely, absolutely. All things are possible now. Okay, so since we have short of time, let me move on. Okay, a very interesting piece. Now I'm sure this is a thrilling area where it's a buzz on the town, right? So AI industry. So to me, currently AI is an accelerator. There is no doubt. AI is an accelerator. It helps for every QE to be more efficient. And AI can replace a lot of mundane work with a validation through expert. Still, that is the current state which I feel. But maybe I just wanted to hear from you, Sunil. What is your thought about AI industry?
Yep. So I second you on that. But as you rightly mentioned, AI can be used as an enabler, but AI is not the solution today, right? So AI cannot replace humans. So that's what we have to keep it in our mind before we jump onto AI and then think about, yeah, I'll reduce half of my effort with the use of the AI tool. Right? So today we are using AI to generate user personas and use case models right from the documentation or the epics and stories in Jira. But again, AI LLMs can hallucinate. There are a lot of things which we get, which is there in the public domain, and some things which are core to our application might not be trained. So we'll have to invest and understand how the LLMs work. We have to get them into context. We have to give the right prompts. It's not like I ask a question, I get all the answers at once. We have to build that context, right? So there's a way to use it, and most of the people fail to recognize that fact. So that's where we have to be cautious when we are trying to get AI and commit any productivity improvement or any of the timelines, thinking that AI can help me improve my productivity. That's not the answer today. The second one is the test scenario generation. Of course, once I have the user personas, use cases, I can generate test scenarios and even the test data. And you can create fake data and all, which I've given a lot of demos on how it can be done. But again, it depends on what information you feed into the AI model. AIs, the LLMs that are there, they are trained on the information available in public domain today. Are they trained to your context is the question you need to answer before using the AI part, especially for test scenarios, creation, and these kind of things. Apart from that, you use Copilot for creating a BrowserStack capability file, it does it wonderfully because of the kind of documentation that BrowserStack has in the public domain. Can I use AI to generate a Selenium script or an APM script? A page object class, provided I give access to the URL, I can do that today. So a lot of things we need to know what is possible and what is not possible, and where it is partial, and we'll have to invest some time in making sure it has to be aligning to our best practice. So we have to take it with a pinch of salt. We have to check clearly on how to use AI. But of course, if you use it in the right way, there are a lot of advantages. And here, what we have done is these are the tools which we are evaluating today: self-healing and API chain generation. Automated test generation is something that automated test generation, not like I'm generating test cases automatically. Creating the test scripts, automated test scripts automatically using AI whenever a UI changes. So how do the test cases heal themselves for the updated locators and all. There are multiple solutions. So we have to pick a combination of all these solutions, not one, right? So one is based on DOM parsing, the other one, self-healing, is based on the OpenCV based algorithms. It does a image comparison, gets the labels, and then we'll have to map it together. That's when we'll see the real value coming out of it. Automated framework updates and migration from one framework to another. Codium, Copilot help a lot in these areas. Synthetic test data generation. So give an application URL, connect your AI. Can you do it via the ChatGPT or the OpenAI API directly? Answer is no. You will have to get those subscriptions, put in your infrastructure, and have these fine-tuning models or the RAG pipelines built to do these things. It's possible, but you have to approach it in a systematic way. Automated generation of performance test scripts. So if you have seen the recent release of Postman and a lot of tools that are coming on this space, we can generate UI to API test cases automatically, API to performance test scripts also automatically. So all of these areas, we have to have a common guidelines on the best practices in framework development, and you need to know, are these really getting implemented through your AI model? You should not let it until it gives you the code that you want, not like you follow whatever it is doing.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. And again, to adding on to it, see, at this point of time, even we are solving test creation problem. Even the biggest challenge now I see, even wherein my team also is now in terms of creating test cases from PRDs. So currently we are working on generating, and we will be having a soon release coming up on test phase management. That is definitely one priority item which we are working on. So already we have an okay. So I think let me just. I think we are short of time. Okay, so I think I may skip the demo part. So I think next one we have Q&A. Okay, there are two questions. Is RPM required in order to automate a critical user's journey that will run the devices? Is BrowserStack simply providing device farm? No, we have solutions supporting what is the specific framework, and the BrowserStack not just providing a farm. It have a device farm and also have a capabilities built working with your required framework to solve this problem. So that is there. And another question was, can we set KPI in BrowserStack to device performance? KPI performance that will fail if doesn't meet the threshold. So I think we discussed about this, right? So we can add it to our quality gate, and that will automatically won't allow that to go to the next level. So that can also be done. And I wanted to thank each and everyone for being patient and listen to all of us. And we will see you in the coming webinar or next forums. So thank you, and thank you, Sunil, for being with us and sharing all your insight and experiences. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rajesh, for the opportunity, and thank you all for
Bye, everyone.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.